taking out time sitting with us on NewsX World as we track these very crucial developments. Viewers, with that, we're shifting focus away from Thailand towards Europe. Now, the European Union's foreign and defense ministers meet is all set to take place in Copenhagen in order to discuss key foreign policy issues. The talks are expected to focus on the Russia-Ukraine war and the situation in the Middle East. The agenda of the meeting is to support the Ukrainian defense industry even more effectively and thereby strengthening Ukraine's combat power in the conflict. This meeting is taking place when there are reports of fresh attacks on Kiev by Russian forces. Remember, just yesterday, 23 people had lost their lives in Kiev. Now, amidst these talks and murmurs of peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine and a possible trilateral that the Trump administration is trying to moot, the advances on the front lines remain active. Now, ahead of the meeting, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas has emphasized upon the need for increased pressure on Russia, especially in light of ongoing attacks on Ukraine, including recent strikes on Kiev. Lithuanian Defense Minister Dovilė Šakalienė has also talked about peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Let's listen in to what they had to say.
Of course, the main topic we have is Russia's war against Ukraine. We saw yesterday the huge attacks on Kiev. Also, European delegation was hit. Fortunately, nobody was hurt physically, but still, I mean, these attacks show that Putin is just mocking any kind of peace efforts that are made. So what we have to do is increase pressure on Russia, and this is really what they understand, the pressure.
Hopes of possible peace negotiations are at least naive. One will look what is happening in Ukraine, what just happened yesterday when 23 people were killed in Kiev, when diplomatic missions were bombed, when we see that all Putin is doing is really stalling, actually cheaply buying time to kill more people and to imitate sort of willingness to maybe stop his own murderous actions.
All right, viewers, you've heard what the European leaders have had to say. Joining us on the broadcast is Martin Saar-Ereis, foreign affairs expert from Germany. Thank you for taking out time sitting with us on NewsX World. Interesting statements are coming in. We've just earlier in the day heard German Chancellor Friedrich Merz say that it is not possible that Russia and Ukraine come to the negotiating table, something that Donald Trump has been proposing ever since he met Putin in Alaska. Now you have these leaders, EU's foreign policy chief as well, stating that Putin's actions in Kiev, especially by targeting civilians, is mocking peace efforts and that Russia only understands pressure. There's been a lot of murmur over the last couple of days as well, as far as Budapest being eyed as a possible location for a trilateral. But could this even catalyze in the first place?
Absolutely. I think the European Union is skeptical towards the strategy that Donald Trump has been enforcing the last months. They feel that the US is no longer reliable and they need to take action by themselves. This very important meeting in Copenhagen shows that the European leaders are putting all of their efforts together to defend Ukraine against the Russian threat, and they're going to work together in terms of intelligence, in terms of budgeting, a solution for increasing the budget for the military, for defense. And I think Friedrich Merz is basically focusing on strengthening the European reaction towards the Russian threat instead of waiting for and being actually dependent on the US in these times of huge uncertainty.
All right, so I request you to stay on with us. We're tracking further developments. We're learning now that the E3